The food on your plate has a secret hidden inside. It's the fingerprints of one of the world's most influential, nearly invisible empires. An empire with more revenue than many countries, 155,000 employees in 70 countries. They master being everywhere and nowhere at once, through 4 levers of structural power. CHVHNH, that company is called Cargill. You know food brands and logos, but not the name behind the ingredients of your salt, oils, and meat. Cargill forms the foundation of the global food supply. This is the story of Cargill, the largest private company in the U.S. It's controlled by one of the world's most private families for over 150 years. They became the invisible architecture of how the world eats by mastering storage, logistics, information, and finance. This is their blueprint of structural power. In 1865, William Wallace Cargill bought a wooden grain warehouse in Iowa. He realized he didn't need to own farms, just control choke points after harvest. A farmer's wheat is worthless if it can't get to market. Cargill became that link. He built a network of grain elevators, like castles on the prairie, buying when farmers had to sell. CMA with acute Y. John, this was arbitrage, executed through logistics. John MacMillan Sr. saved Cargill from debt, instilling fiscal discipline, strategic patience, and extreme privacy. This secrecy became a key asset. A grain elevator is a time machine. Farmers sell at harvest, when prices are lowest. Cargill, with massive storage, buys cheap and waits. Their warehouses turn perishable crops into stable financial assets. This gives them leverage over market timing. They hold inventory, waiting for droughts or disruptions, then sell when prices rise. This is the foundational power of the choke point. By the 1940s, Cargill could unload a train car of grain in just 4 minutes. This efficiency meant market dominance, a structural advantage. They mastered moving goods globally to profit from a commodity's entire journey. This strategy scaled their power from national to global. They built their own aquatic highways and unit trains. This integrated network provides unmatched structural leverage over the global food supply. Mike Logistics, Cargill reroutes grain, soy, and sugar faster than public institutions during crises. They operate as one of the planet's primary circulatory systems for food. This physical control is amplified by information. Long before Silicon Valley, Cargill was in information arbitrage. Knowing market shifts minutes or days before rivals offers a game-winning advantage. Any new information, weather, disease, policy, can instantly shift prices. The first to act profits, the last, often the farmer, loses. Cargill acquired private communication systems and built grain testing labs for precise insights. This structural advantage is born from decades of capital investment in a global intelligence network. Their traders have a near real-time, satellite-level view of global supply and demand. They project yields and track demand with superior accuracy than governments. This power was demonstrated during the Great Grain Robbery of the 1970s. Cargill used its intelligence to profit from secret sales to the Soviet Union. Mastering information allows them to anticipate market shifts. This turns global volatility into a consistent revenue stream. TNHBA with acute OVTANH, farming is inherently risky, weather, pests, and price swings. Cargill turned that risk into a profit center. They are masters of complex financial tools, futures, options, and derivatives. They lock in prices months before harvest, using hedging as a shield against volatility. While small farmers go bankrupt, Cargill is protected by its financial operations. Their capital, global reach, and information allow them to profit from volatility that crushes smaller competitors. When markets panic, Cargill's traders are ready. Their financial services arm manages risk as a business itself. storage, logistics, information, finance, 4 levers, 1 system. This is the architecture of their dominance. An empire operating in the shadows for over 160 years, built without leaving scars. The cost often begins with the planet itself. Cargill's dominance in soy and beef drives deforestation in Brazil's Amazon and Cerrado. Critics allege Cargill enables deforestation by creating infrastructure. Mighty Earth named Cargill the worst company in the world for its supply chain links to Amazon fires. Cargill pledged deforestation-free supply chain, but critics say progress is too slow. MTTI Cacao reports cite ongoing environmental abuses in Brazil, including illegal deforestation on indigenous lands. Cargill also faces conflict with farmers due to power imbalance. Cargill's history includes significant accusations of market power abuse. In 1938, the Chicago Board of Trade accused Cargill of trying to corner the corn market. During COVID-19, Cargill's meatpacking plants became hotspots, leading to hundreds of infections and multiple worker deaths. Allegations of child labor and child slavery on cocoa farms in West Africa persist. In 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court dismissed one such case on jurisdictional grounds. In 2023, a Brazilian court found Cargill liable for purchasing cocoa from farms with forced labor. Critics argue these are not isolated PR crises, but predictable outcomes of a system. Cargill, a private giant nearly as powerful as a nation-state, operates without public accountability. This is the structural cost of operating at such a colossal scale. Its primary superpower is being private. More than 88% of the company is still family-controlled. This is both its shield and its sword. Unlike public companies, it doesn't answer to Wall Street's quarterly profit demands. They can make generational bets on infrastructure that may not pay off for decades. GIATC old money, this affords them strategic patience public rivals can only dream of. The core tension within any dynasty is liquidity versus control as the family expands over generations. Younger family members may want to cash out their fortune. The old guard fights to keep the company private, as this is the source of its structural power. This dynamic creates constant low-grade friction. Selling shares to employees in the 1990s provided liquidity without going public, but the pressure remains. Dynasties don't just collapse from outside competition, they often fracture from within. When the consensus to prioritize long-term control over short-term wealth breaks. For now, control holds. The system is perfectly aligned with modern industrialized agriculture. Our global food supply has consolidated around a handful of interchangeable commodity crops, corn and soy. When Brazilian soy is identical to Iowa soy, the winner is the player who can trade, process, and move it at scale for the lowest cost. That is the game Cargill mastered better than any other company. Cargill's genius was building the most ruthlessly efficient machine possible under global capitalism. The system is designed to reward scale and concentrate power in the middle. Cargill just figured out how to become a core layer of the system itself. BATH thick sing CN, from this perspective, deforestation, market pressures on farmers, and labor issues are not the goals of the machine, they are its logical byproducts. The company faces a three-front pressure test challenging its century-old model. The first front is climate change. A global food system built on predictable weather is now facing chaos. This is both a profound threat and a perverse opportunity for Cargill. Its physical assets are vulnerable to extreme weather. But market volatility is an environment where its trading desks can be most profitable. Cargill invests in sustainability, but critics point to its role in driving climate change through beef and soy. The second front is geopolitics. The era of unfettered global trade is under pressure. A rising tide of food nationalism, where countries prioritize their own food security and restrict exports, threatens Cargill's borderless model. The final and most potent front is transparency. Consumers and governments demand to know what is in their food and its origin. This movement runs counter to Cargill's core DNA of intense privacy. Its business model built on information asymmetry is challenged by a world demanding greater transparency. Digital traceability and regulatory measures are forcing a level of openness the company has never had to practice. Tunglai Ca the PHM, the ultimate challenge. By 2050, the planet may need to feed nearly 10 billion people. Cargill argues its massive scale and efficiency are essential to meeting that demand. The unresolved question is who will truly benefit, the world's population, or the private family that controls a core operating layer of the global food system? There is no simple verdict here. No single villain to blame. The Cargill system is a revelation, demonstrating that the most profound power is often structural and unseen. So let's go back to your dinner plate. What happens in a quiet office in Minnesota has a direct line to the Amazon rainforest, a farmer in Iowa, and the food you are about to eat. Understanding this hidden architecture isn't about judging one company. It's about finally seeing the invisible forces that shape our world, and recognizing that the hand that feeds you is a hand you did not elect and cannot hold accountable. If you want to understand how real power operates, subscribe.